Well, greetings everyone and welcome to another edition of Can't Wait Wednesdays here on the KB Radio Network, and we have quite a few upcoming movies coming out this weekend, and of course it's Halloween season. We have some Halloween themed films to come out along with some other films that you can consider counter programming for those of us who not into the horror Halloween themed movies. So it's something for everybody, to say the least. So let's jump right in. Let's jump right into our new releases this weekend of October the 14th. Starting on Friday, October the 14th, on Netflix, you have the family comedy / horror, and I say that in quotations, The Curse of Bridge Hollow. And this film stars Marlon Wayans, Kelly Rowland, and Para Ferguson. Para Ferguson, you may know from Stranger Things. She plays the young sister of what's the black kid name? There's only one black kid on there. I can't remember his name. But anyways, she plays the young sister. I know her name, Erica. The plot of this film is a father, played by Marlon Wayans, and his teenage daughter, played by Para Ferguson, must team up to save their town after an ancient spirit causes Halloween decorations to come to life and wreak havoc. Like I said, it's a family film. So it's nothing ghoulish or bloody about this movie. Plus Marlon Wayans, you know, it's going to be some comedy involved, a lot of comedy involved, and I'm interested to see Kelly Rowland in a film. Hadn't seen her in a film in a while, so this ought to be a good little movie to check out with the fam. Once again, this Friday on Netflix, you have The Curse of Bridge Hollow. Also on streaming this weekend, we have a romantic comedy based on probably the most popular romantic piece of literature there is, and that is Romeo and Juliet. Who doesn't know about Romeo and Juliet? And there's been so many adaptations of Romeo and Juliet, whether you know it or not. You know, there's just been so many different adaptations. It's either been a word for word adaptation, or like the Baz Luhrmann adaptation with Leonardo DiCaprio and who else? What was the who played Juliet? Oh man, it just blanked on me right quick. I know who it is. Clara Danes, thank you. She, where they were in modern times, but they spoke in Shakespearean tone. You know what I'm saying? It was a nice little ad. We watched that at school. I thought that was interesting. It really got me into Shakespeare, because otherwise it just didn't work for me. But you know, there's been different kinds. Like if you like Romeo Must Die, right? That was a Romeo and Juliet adaptation. That's the film that starred Jet Li in the late great Aaliyah. Underworld was a Romeo and Juliet adaptation, whether you know it or not. I'm talking about Underworld with the werewolves and the vampires. That was a actual adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. But now we're getting a different twist to it. This is from the perspective of Romeo's ex-girlfriend, and this is called Rosaline. Rosaline is a romantic comedy directed by Karen Maine, and the premise of this is Rosaline is a comedic take of Shakespeare's tragic romance Romeo and Juliet, told from the perspective of Juliet's cousin Rosaline, who is also Romeo's recent love interest. Heartbroken when Romeo meets Juliet and begins to pursue her, Rosaline schemes to foil the romance and win Romeo back. Of course, this is not from the lost pages of William Shakespeare. This is a complete made up thing. Well, Romeo and Juliet is made up, so it is what it is. But in any event, it's cute. This looks like it's going to be cute. You know, a CW take on Romeo and Juliet, if you will. But, hey, it's a new version, and I would love to see this. I like to see it from someone else's perspective. You know, her trying to, I guess, throw a monkey wrench, rather, into their plans. But we all know the end of Romeo and Juliet. It doesn't go well for nobody. So, she's wasting her time. But I want to see how this go. Rosaline will be released this Friday on Hulu, so you can check that out this Friday. It looks interesting. This leads us into a film that I'm kind of on the fence with. I want to see it, but then I don't want to see it. And I know the show is Can't Wait Wednesday. These are films that I'm excited about, TV shows that I'm excited about, and I can't wait for. Hence the name of the show. But I get it. I get the reason for this film. I get why it exists. But I don't know. I wanted to see a film. Well, let me tell you what the film is. Till. And of course, this is a story about, centered around the lynching of Emmett Till in, 1955. And this film is told from the perspective of Emmett Till's mother, which is fine, which is interesting. Like to see it. But I wanted to see an Emmett Till movie. You know, when I first heard about it, I thought this was an Emmett Till movie. But this is actually about the mother. And not to say I don't want to see that story. It just kind of threw me off. It threw me off when I heard about it. You know, I forgot what movie I went to go see, and they showed the little behind the scenes making of it, and they were talking to the director, whose name I cannot pronounce. I'm just gonna call her Cece. Because I actually sat here for about 10 minutes trying to pronounce her name, and I couldn't get it. So I just went ahead and tapped out and said, I'm going to call her Cece. So Cece, she did her interview, and she was discussing how she did not want to show the actual death of Emmett Till. This not going to have any violence and all this here. She wanted to tell a story of the mother. And all right, that's fine. But to me, it just came off as TV movie vibes to me. You know what I'm saying? It feels like a Lifetime movie. You know, so I wasn't so excited about it. But at the same time, I am excited because the story needs to be told. Let's not get it twisted here. This story needs to be told. So I'm fine with it. I want the whole story to come out because of, you know, that's what she did. That was the whole point of her little act. Not little, it was huge actually. Her stance that she took. But the premise of this is, Emmett Till's mother becomes an educator and activist in the civil rights movement after the death of her 14-year-old son, who in 1955 was lynched by white supremacists for whistling at a white woman, Carolyn Bryant, while visiting his cousins in Money, Mississippi. Emmett Till's mother insisted that the casket containing her son's dead body be left open to let the world see what they had done to her son. The film is told entirely from her perspective. Emmett Till's murder is heard about throughout the film, but is not shown in the film. Now, I understand why you wouldn't want to show that. I get that, because it was brutal what they did to that boy. That was brutal and sad and despicable. You know, I wouldn't want to really. I'm of two minds of it. I guess you could say, if you can't tell, I'm struggling with it. I'm of two minds of it. Yeah, nobody wants to see it. But at the same time, the whole point of Emmett Till's mother's stance, she wants the world to see it. You know, she demanded that that casket stay open, even though her son was unrecognizable. Unrecognized. I saw photos of Emmett Till's body. Of course, I wasn't alive in 1955, but I saw photos of Emmett Till's body at the funeral, and it was, I mean, my God, it'll make you throw up what they did to that boy. I mean, unbelievable, and nobody spent a day in prison. It's sad. It is beyond sad. Sad is the biggest understatement there is regarding this. And my feeling is her stance was strong in this. And I felt if you're going to tell this story, you have to have just as strong of a stance. Show it, show what happened to him, and get the blunt of it. It reminds me of Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson, I'll never forget, Mel Gibson did an interview and they asked him why it was just so brutal, showing what happened to Jesus. Why did you show, what was the purpose of all that violence and blood and depicted towards Jesus? And he said, I wanted people to feel what Jesus felt. I wanted them to see what he went through. And it worked for me, even though I knew, growing up in Sunday school and all that. But, the actual, get the visual depiction of that, it hit harder than anything. And drove home the point with me. Same thing with this. I think it would drive home the point a little bit more. But I'm being very judgmental towards this film, and I haven't seen not one frame of it yet. I'm basically being the person that I cannot stand. Those filmmakers that just, not filmmakers, but those film critics that just tear a film apart and haven't watched it yet. I'm not tearing it apart. I'm not saying that this is going to be a bad movie. I just wish they would have showed it, wish they would have went deeper into it, take the kids' gloves off and just go. But we shall see. Now, when I watch this movie, I'll be the first person to hop behind this microphone and say I was wrong. It may be one of the most powerful films of the year. I'm hoping that it is because, there's a lot of talent involved. We have Whoopi Goldberg producing this film, as long as co-starring in this film, and a lot of black women behind the scenes. Like I said, the director, a black woman, of course, is black female lead. Black producers, female producers. It's so I'm championing this. I hope it does well. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to go see it, So, in limited release. Now, it's only in limited release this Friday, October the 14th. But it will be released wide on October the 28th, just in 2 weeks. So, if you want to check it out early, if it's in your area, this Friday, October the 14th, you have the opportunity to check out Till. So, that's our penultimate movie. Now for the grand poobah of the weekend. Of course, it's Halloween season. And what would be Halloween season without a Halloween movie? And not just any Halloween movie, the Halloween movie, the final, hopefully, final Halloween film in the Halloween film franchise, and this is amply titled Halloween Ends. Look, I'm a big, huge, ginormous fan of the Halloween franchise, even the bad ones, even the ones that I just was cheesy as I don't know what. Those, Halloween H2O or Halloween. What was the one with Busta Rhymes? Or was that H2O? I don't even remember. They all blend together at this point. It was 13 of them. Well, this is the 13th. But it's so many. Now, technically, those other sequels didn't count because this trilogy here was supposed to do away with the sequels. This takes place right after the original Halloween, which came out in 1978. So it continues that storyline. So, but this is the final one that allegedly, because they done had about 5 or 6 finals, final chapters in this saga. So we shall see. Now, this is also coming off of so disappointing Halloween Kills, which came out last year. That was so disappointing. I did not like it. I did not like it at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, it was just if you haven't seen Halloween Kills, it's spoilers for a second here. They turned him, Michael Myers, into this mythical thing, this he was supernatural in Halloween Kills. See, what I enjoyed about Halloween, Mike Myers he's just a guy. Now he's evil, but he's a guy. You know, he's not bulletproof and stab proof and all this here. Now, granted, he was shot at the end of the original one when he fell out the window, but it kind of makes sense. You know, it ain't like he was shot in the head or the chest or nothing like that. So it was kind of believable. I just did not like this one. But I mean, the Halloween Kills. But this one here, I'm interested in, mainly because this is the last of the saga, allegedly. So we should see how it all ends. This is once again directed by David Gordon Green, who directed the previous 2 films in the franchise. And Jamie Lee Curtis returns as Laurie Strode in this film. And will she die? Will they all look at this point? Gloves are off, man. I think the only way to get past this for good old Laurie is to they need to go out in a blaze of glory together. Just stab each other, just stabby each other up until they both die. Because it's become a caricature of her character from the original. I don't really care for it. I did see the last one, Halloween Kills, kind of spoiled it because I enjoyed Halloween. You know, the sequel Halloween from a couple of years ago. Enjoyed it. It was great. It was great. Great addition, great sequel to the original. Perfect. And then Halloween Kills come out, and it was really a bridge movie to this movie. And I hate bridge movies because all you're doing the whole film is setting up the final showdown, you know, and it didn't work for me. I'm sitting there for 2 hours for a setup that I already know. I already know the setup, you know. Just because you're trying to milk money out of it, making this a trilogy. Some things just don't need to be a trilogy. But regardless, we got it anyway. This looks interesting. It does. 4 years after the events of last year, Halloween Kills, Laurie is living with her granddaughter, Allison, and is finishing writing her memoirs. Michael Myers hadn't been seen since the last brutal rampage. Laurie, after allowing the specter of Michael Myers to demand and drive her reality for decades, has decided to liberate herself from fear and rage and embrace life. But when a young man, Corey Cunningham, is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting, it ignites a crusade of violence and terror that will force Laurie to finally confront the evil she cannot control once and for all. I'm hoping, praying, and wishing that we get a satisfying conclusion to this historic franchise. I mean, whether you like the Halloween films or not, you got to think back to what Halloween opened up for horror. Because before Halloween, we didn't have slashers. We wouldn't have got Friday the 13th. We wouldn't have got Nightmare on Elm Street. We wouldn't have got all these slasher films that we enjoy. That we sickly enjoy. And so there's a lot hanging on this. For me, I hope that it ends in a bang, satisfyingly. I hope there's no cliffhanger. You know, Mike Myers busting out the grave or something. Yeah, it's just something stupid. I just hope it's nothing cheesy, because the thing about Halloween, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy it so much, is because it stays grounded to a degree. You know, unlike Nightmare on Elm Street, because we're dealing with dreams and fantasy and all that there, and you know, Jason with Friday the 13th, you know, there's a level of mysticism in that. You know, Hellraiser, of course, you're dealing with demons and all that foolishness, and it's just nothing reality based. And Halloween was more reality based than any other franchise in a horror genre, in my humble opinion. Pretty sure there are other ones, but this is the more mainstream franchise that I'm really talking about. So we have this Friday, Halloween Ends, and it should be ... finally, but maybe that'll be the sequel. But Halloween Ends is released in theaters as well as Peacock this Friday, October the 14th, just in time for Halloween. So which one are you excited about, people? Are you excited for Netflix's The Curse of Bridge Hollow? Or is it Hulu's Rosaline? Maybe it's Till in limited release this Friday. Or will it be Halloween Ends dropping in theaters as well as Peacock all this Friday? Let me know which one you're excited for. Just email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. Also look the show up on Twitter. Just look up at KB Radio Network and other social media platforms as well. We're everywhere. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or any other listening platform, don't forget about the 5 stars and the reviews. Don't forget to share the show. Let everybody know you're listening to Can't Wait Wednesdays here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, hope you enjoying your week thus far. I certainly am. I'm feeling good this week. Took me a couple of days to kind of recalibrate, some mental health days, as you will. It is helping. It really is helping. I recommend that for everybody. Take you a couple of days off to kind of breathe. Just get away from something. You don't have to go nowhere, but just, take a couple of days off of work. Take a couple of days off of whatever it is you do, and just focus on yourself. Clear your mind. Pray, meditate, do all that good stuff. And just relax, because going somewhere, that can get tiresome. You either have to drive, and that's tiresome, or even if you fly, it's the rushing to the airport and all this other stuff. It's nothing relaxing about that. Just take you some time at home, a little stay vacation, however you say it, staycation. That's what they say. Just relax. But in any event, I hope you enjoyed these upcoming releases this weekend. I'm sure going to enjoy them. I can't wait to watch all of these films. They look like they're going to be interesting. So everybody, I want you all to know I love you. Continue to love everybody. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.